Hi, I'm Dr. Erin Yelland for K-State Research and Extension. I'm going to start with a question today. Are you prepared to help yourself prevent falls in your home and in your community? Many people might answer, no, I'm not. But that's okay. But we do know that falls are a big deal. So today we're going to talk about some research and evidence-based tips and tricks to help you prevent falls in your home and in your community. But first, I want to start by giving you the scary facts about falls and hope that this will encourage you as well as community leaders to make a difference and help prevent falls among seniors. First, at least 1 out of 4 older adults fall each year. Adults 65 plus is generally what we refer to when we say older adults. So at least 1 in 4 of those individuals will experience a fall each year. That's a pretty high number. If you're sitting in a room with 8 older adults, there's a really good chance that at least 2 of you are going to experience a fall this year. We want that number to go down, but research is telling us that in fact, that number is going to go up. Once you fall a single time in your life, that doubles your risk of experiencing another fall. So if you fall once, you are more likely to fall again. Hence another reason why we want to be incorporating fall prevention into our daily lives. And there's several risks that older adults face for falling. One of them is that 1 in 5 falls will result in a serious injury. A serious injury is referring to things such as traumatic brain injuries or a broken bone, particularly broken hips, which many of us know can be devastating for older adults. Another risk of falling is that it results in over 3 million emergency room visits each year. That is a lot of money and a lot of individuals who are experiencing devastating consequences to a fall. Further, 95% of hip fractures among older adults are caused by falling. And we all know that hip fractures can be particularly devastating to the health and wellness of older adults. Falls are also the most common of TBIs, or traumatic brain injuries, among older adults. So there's a lot of risks associated with falling, and we want to do as much as possible to help reduce that risk. The final thing that I want you to be aware of is that falls result in $50 billion being spent on healthcare costs annually. $50 billion. That's a lot of money that's being spent on falls. And there are many times that falls occur that they could have been easily prevented. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. How can you prevent a fall-related injury in your life? How can you prevent a fall-related injury for a loved one? There's a lot of simple steps that we can take to help reduce the risk of falls, and we're going to be sharing that information today. But first, I just want to highlight one more devastating effect of falls. Over the past several years, the fall-related death rates for older adults has continued to increase. From 2007 to 2016, the fall death rates in the United States have increased 30%. And we expect that this rate is going to continue rising for the next several years. In fact, by 2030, we expect that we can experience 7 fall-related deaths every hour in the United States. There are devastating consequences to falls, and we want to talk about how we can help prevent those and keep older adults as safe as possible in their homes. So where are falls happening? It's not in tropical places like this. In fact, the majority of older adults fall at home and in several places throughout their home. Among people that do not have stairs in their home, the most common places where they fall are in the living room, followed by the bedroom, and then in the kitchen, and then in the bathtub. Among homes that do have stairs, the most common places that individuals will fall are all of the above, but particularly on the stairs. What are steps that you can take in all of these areas to help prevent falls? We're going to talk about those today. So, what can you do? The first step is to talk to your doctor, followed by keep moving, wearing proper shoes, removing home hazards, making your space safer, lighting up your space, using helpful tools, and then thinking about your community. K-State Research and Extension is proud to offer researched and evidence-based information on how you can prevent falls in your home and in your community. When we come back, we're going to dive into all 8 of these steps that can help you reduce your risk of falls.
You're an expert at building your company. You know your customers, your books. You live it, eat it, breathe it. Are you also having to wear an IT hat while you're managing hundreds of other things? Those hats could really add up. That's where Nex-Tech comes in. We'll let you be the expert of your business, and we will be your IT department. From cybersecurity to backup, hardware and software, we'll manage it for you so you can keep your business running. Rest easier with Nex-Tech Managed IT.
Now we're going to dive into those 8 steps to fall prevention. The first of which is talk to your doctor. When you go to your annual well check with your primary care physician, it is so important that you're talking about your fall risk. And there's many things that can increase your risk of falls. The first of which is medications. Several medications may have a side effect of dizziness or even a lightheaded feeling, and that can make you more susceptible to experiencing a fall. If you're experiencing this dizziness or lightheadedness, talk with your doctor and say, are there any prescriptions that are causing this reaction for me? And perhaps there's an alternative that can help to reduce those side effects. Next, check your hearing and vision. We know that individuals who have disrupted vision or even decreased hearing are at an increased risk of experiencing falls. Along with your hearing, the inner ear is incredibly important to sustaining your balance. So we also want to make sure that in addition to your ability to hear, that you also have good ear health overall. That can really make a huge difference in your risk of falling. Next, talk about previous falls and even near falls or near misses with your doctor. If you have fallen before, it is so important to talk to your doctor about that so that they can review your prescriptions, review your vision and your hearing and your ear health, review other things that might be increasing your risk so that it doesn't happen again. If you find yourself starting to fall, but perhaps you catch yourself, talk to your doctor about that too. It doesn't have to be a devastating fall in order for you to need to talk to your doctor about it. Next, ask your doctor if you want to complete a fall risk assessment. This is a simple tool that doctors can talk with you orally about your fall risk. They're going to ask you several questions. Maybe they'll do a balance test. Different doctors do it in different ways, but completing a fall risk assessment is incredibly important to talking about your fall risk. Next, how often should you be seeing your doctor? You should go to see your primary care physician at least once a year. And oftentimes older adults go more often than that because they have pre-existing conditions that require them to see a doctor more than that. But if you are otherwise healthy, be sure that you're going to your doctor at least once a year. How often do you need to talk about falls? Try to talk to your physician about falls once a year. You may not need to complete a fall risk assessment every year, but if you're starting to have concerns, it's not a bad idea. Review those prescriptions. Talk about issues with your hearing and vision and any other concerns that you have. Talking to your doctor is the absolute first step to helping to prevent falls in your home and in your community. Next step, keep moving. The key here is to achieve at least 150 minutes of exercise per week. And I encourage you to explore different types of exercise that incorporate a variety of skills into your exercise regimen, such as balance, strength, endurance, and flexibility. If you think about all of these things, all 4 of these types of exercise, they all go hand in hand with fall prevention. If you have better balance, you're going to be less likely to fall. If you are stronger, you're going to be more likely to be able to catch yourself if you do start falling. If you have better flexibility, say you start to fall backwards. Having more flexibility and more range of motion means that you're going to be able to reach behind you and catch yourself on that chair or table that is hopefully behind you, or even a wall. If you have more endurance, you're going to be able to keep up with yourself and keep your walking momentum to keep that healthy exercise incorporated into your life, which is going to benefit your overall physical health. So, keep moving. Strive for 150 minutes of exercise a week, and remember that exercise doesn't have to be tough. Doing things such as walking, gardening, cleaning your house, doing simple exercises at home can be incredibly beneficial. Contact your local K-State Research and Extension office to learn more about exercise tips and tricks that you can incorporate into your life. Our next tip for fall prevention is what not to wear and using sensible shoes. Oftentimes we see younger adults walking around in these pumps and high heels, and many times we don't see older adults doing the same thing, and that's because they're making a smart footwear decision. No matter how old or young you are, wearing unsensible shoes can increase your fall risk. But it's not only those pumps and high heels that we need to be concerned about, it's also those flip-flops or those unsturdy types of sandals. It can also be slippers, such as the ones pictured on your screen. If you want to wear a slipper in your home, which many of us do, I encourage you to wear a slipper that wraps around your entire foot and has a nice rubber non-slip sole. Wearing these flimsy types of slippers can make you more susceptible to falling. So think about the shoes that you're wearing. Try to avoid anything that's going to make you unsteady on your feet. Try to avoid shoes that are flimsy or floppy and can get caught when you're walking. Wear sensible shoes, as oftentimes that can reduce your fall risk immensely. The next tip for you is to remove home hazards. This doesn't mean that you need to go out and completely gut your home and redo everything. These are simple things like removing throw rugs, getting electrical cords out of the way, and removing pet gear from locations where you might trip over it. So, starting with that, remove throw rugs. Throw rugs are one of the most dangerous items that older adults can have in their homes related to fall prevention. This includes bath mats as well. It is actually suggested that a typical bath mat that many people have in their home is more dangerous than not having one at all. But we know that we don't want to not have one because then the floor can become slippery. So what we do want to have in our bathrooms and in our kitchen is a low profile rubberized backed mat that is going to be very safe for you. Oftentimes these are called kitchen mats. The mats that are often marketed for bathroom use can be incredibly dangerous. So we want to go for a kitchen mat or even a doormat that is more sturdy, is less flimsy, and has that full rubberized backing that is going to stay stuck to the floor. Next up, remove those hazards that are infringing on your walkway. If you have pet gear, such as pet toys, be cognizant of that, walk around them. Try to encourage your pet to even teach them a new trick to put their toys away in a basket when they're done. Many dogs can be trained to do things like that. Or when you say drop it, try to have them drop their toy up against the wall rather than in the middle of the walkway. There's so many neat things that we can do with our pets to make sure that they're still staying safe around us. Next up, make sure that all of your carpets are firmly fixed to the floor and repair your flooring if it is needed. We oftentimes see in older homes that there may be old floorboards that need to be fixed or an old set of rickety stairs that needs to be replaced. Making those changes now can reduce your risk of falling in the future. Oftentimes, there may be carpet that has started to come up. Maybe it's frayed on an edge, or maybe it's just no longer sticking to the floor. Making those simple fixes can have a huge impact on your overall health and wellness by working to prevent falls. Making simple changes can have a big difference. Next, arrange or remove furniture so that there is plenty of room. You remember from earlier that the majority of falls that occur in a home without stairs can occur in the living room. And oftentimes, if we have too much furniture in the room, or perhaps furniture that is misplaced, we are more likely to fall, trip, or even slip and fall onto that furniture. So arranging or removing your furniture so that there's plenty of room for you to walk is incredibly important. But also keep in mind that if you know of an older adult, or if you are an older adult that is unsteady on your feet, arranging furniture so that when you're walking through a room, you have something to grab onto can be incredibly important. So arrange your furniture purposefully. Make purposeful decisions when you're thinking about fall prevention in your home. Next step, watch out for pets. We've already mentioned their pet gear, but remember to be aware when you have a pet underfoot. If you're not sure where your pet is, perhaps you can call them and have them come to you so that you know where they are at. Perhaps you can tell them to sit and stay, and that can help them to stay out of the way when you're moving across the room. But regardless, watch out for your pets so that you don't trip over them. They're a beloved part of the family, so we want to make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe, but also keeping our pets safe as well. The next tip that I have for you is to make your space safer, and we're going to get to that after the break.
What a girl wants in her home kitchen. Ease of use, flexibility, fun, the latest kitchen design, Frigidaire Professional Real Stainless Steel for fewer finger smudges, a French door refrigerator, convection cooking, a quiet dishwasher. Have the staff at Genuine Appliance in Hayes demonstrate new Frigidaire Professional appliances to find what you want. Genuine Appliance at 1224 East 27th in Hayes. Everything a girl wants.
Hi, I'm Dr. Erin Yelland for K-State Research and Extension, and welcome back to this Extension Ed Talk, where we're talking about research and evidence-based tips and tricks to helping to prevent falls in your home and in your community. The next step that we're going to be talking about is making your space safer. Already we've talked about removing those trip hazards and doing other things to your home, but how can you look at your space overall and make it a safer spot? This is oftentimes when we start to talk about assistive devices, or those things that can help us prevent a fall, such as installing grab bars in your bathroom, stairway, and next to your bed. This can be a huge help for individuals when they're in the bathroom or when they're just moving about the home. Install those railings going down your stairs on both sides of the stairway. That way you can hold on with both hands, but if you are carrying something down the stairs, hold it in one arm and hold on to the railing with the other. This is going to make it a safer passageway for you and help to prevent falls. Think about installing a grab bar near your bed. This doesn't have to be something that is affixed to the wall. There are actually grab bars that you can slide underneath your mattress that will then stick up to the side of your bed that will have something for you to grab onto and help hoist yourself up out of bed in the morning. Getting out of bed can be hard for some people, and sometimes that dramatic change in position from laying down to sitting up can make us dizzy. And then getting from sitting down to standing up can have the same effect. So having something there that is safe for you to grab onto and maintain your balance can be incredibly important for fall prevention. Thinking about your bathroom, install grab bars next to the toilet and in the shower. They don't have to be an eyesore. Don't think of it as an eyesore. Instead, think of it as a necessity that is going to help you protect your overall health and wellness. and think they're still an eyesore, there's actually newer, more modern versions of grab bars and safety devices that can blend into your home's design that doesn't make it look like a nursing home or some sort of assisted living facility that many of us want to avoid. So think about how you can still keep your space beautiful, but also functional even as we're aging. Next up, move items so that they're easy to reach. We know that many older adults are more susceptible to falling if they're reaching up high for something. Instead of reaching, have a younger sibling or maybe an adult child or grandchild come to your home and help you move items so that they're easier to reach. If you're commonly reaching for the flour and sugar up on the highest level of your pantry, move it down. If you're constantly reaching for clothes in your closet, move them down. Try to make space so that you can move items farther down so that they are easier to reach. Slippery. Making those simple changes can make your space safer. Next, use a bath seat while showering. This can be hard for many individuals because we think that that's for those older people. That's not for me. But in fact, using a shower seat is not something to be ashamed of. It's something that you're doing to make a smarter choice to keep yourself safer and healthier in your home. Using a bath seat and preventing a fall is going to be a whole lot better than falling and breaking your hip. So, be okay with those decisions and be okay with the fact that sometimes we need a little extra help and that using those assistive devices is far better than having a devastating consequence of a fall. Next, use non-slip, low-profile mats in your bathroom and kitchen. I've already mentioned that bath mats are an incredible hazard, the typical bath mats that we often see. Instead, we need to make sure that we're using non-slip, low-profile mats in many areas throughout our home, whether that's at a doorway where they're commonly used, but also incorporating those into your kitchen and bathroom can help you wipe your feet when they're wet, but also keep them out of the way, keep them sturdy and flat on the ground so that we're not slipping over them. Also, these low-profile sturdy mats are also wheelchair and walker friendly. Because they are so low to the ground and they're a low-profile mat, they will not come up when you scoot a walker or a wheelchair over them. So we want to make sure that we're using those appropriate mats and those appropriate items throughout our home. The next tip I have for you is light up your space. This is oftentimes talked about when we're talking about making our home safer in general, but with fall prevention, it's even more important. As I always say, ensure there is a light switch at both the top and bottom of your stairway. That way, if you're going up the stairs from the bottom, you're able to turn the light on, and if you're descending from the top, you're able to turn the light on. This can be a simple, low-cost electrical fix for individuals who live in a home where this is not present. The next tip is to keep a flashlight next to your bed. How many of you have ever experienced a power outage in the middle of the night, and when you got up, it was dark and you were unable to see where you were going? That can be a real challenge. It can actually be more likely to cause a fall for many older adults as well as younger adults. So it's incredibly valuable to consider keeping a flashlight next to your bed in case the power does go out and you need to get up and move around. The next tip that I have is this: night lights, night lights, night lights. They are so incredibly beneficial to have across your home, especially in your bedroom, in your bathroom, in hallways, and in the kitchen. Think about if you were to get up in the middle of the night and go get a drink of water. Think about your path from your bedroom to either the kitchen or the bathroom where you would get that drink of water. Is it well lit? Is that going to help you prevent falls? The answer is yes. It will help you prevent a fall because you'll be able to see what's ahead of you. My next tip for you is using assistive devices. We've already mentioned a bath chair, which you can see in this picture, but there are other things that you can consider incorporating into your life to prevent falls as well. The first of which that you see on your screen is actually that bed grab bar. So this is what I mentioned earlier about having a grab bar next to your bed that's going to help you get out of bed safely and more comfortably. Next, we have a reacher stick. It has a very professional name of a reacher stick, but that's generally what it's called. So these are things that are going to help us reach things that are stored in higher places. Lastly, you'll see on your screen a gardening bench. This is going to help people still be able to get down and dirty in their garden and do the things that they enjoy doing. But you can see that it has a cushioned mat for your knees, as well as bars on the side that are going to help you push yourself up and get up from the ground more safely. No matter what it is, there is truly an assistive device for everything nowadays. If you're having trouble getting your socks on or putting your shoes on, there's a device for that. When we often say there's an app for that, with older adults and their assistive technologies, I always say that there's a device for that. So seek out those devices. Ask your doctor or even your K-State Research and Extension agent about assistive devices and what you can incorporate into your life to make life easier. The last tip that I have for you today is think about your community. We know that falls don't only happen in your home, but they can also happen throughout the community as well. And many times this is a direct result of poorly managed sidewalks or street crossings and things like that. So, are there walkways in need of repair in your community? Are there safe routes to bike, walk, and cross streets? All of these things are going to make your community safer and more walkable and more livable for older adults. Are sidewalks and crosswalks walker and wheelchair friendly? Be thinking about those individuals who do need those assistive mobility devices around town. Can they get around town? Or are our sidewalks and crosswalks so dangerous that it's keeping people in their homes because they're scared to go out? Next, think about, are there benches to sit and rest on walking trails or even downtown? We know that many older adults are easier to tire, meaning that the longer that they walk, the more likely they are to need to sit down. Are there places for them to do that on exercise trails or even downtown? Thinking about ways that you can better your community can be so beneficial for older adults and their fall prevention. Lastly, I encourage you, if you see sidewalks that are in need of repair, if you see unsafe crosswalks or areas in your community that are not older adult friendly, report it. Go and talk with your local county or city leadership about improving spaces to make them more livable for older adults. We know that when older adults are able to get out and about in the community, they're going to live a healthier and more positive lifestyle. They're also going to contribute to the economic vitality of a community, as well as the social vitality of that community as well. We want older adults to be a positive and vibrant part of our communities, and in order to do that, we need to make sure that they can get around from A to B safely and efficiently. So I encourage you, talk to your local county or city leadership about making your community more aging friendly and more walkable for people of all ages, whether they're children in strollers to older adults using wheelchairs. There are things that we can do and steps we can take, and I encourage you to do it. My last question for you today is, what changes are you going to make today to help reduce your risk of falls in your home and in your community? If you can think of one small, inexpensive change that you can make to your home, I encourage you to do it now. I know you can do it, and it really will make a positive difference in your life and will reduce your risk of falling. We saw at the beginning of this Extension Ed Talk that the cost of falling is extraordinary, not only financially, but also to our health. The majority of older adults who fall will experience an injury at one time or another. We want to reduce and avoid those injuries as much as possible. And we want to reduce the overall expense that falling has on our nation's health. So, what changes are you going to make? I'm Dr. Erin Yelland for K-State Research and Extension, and I hope today that you have learned some great research and evidence-based tips and tricks to reducing falls in your life.